gentlemen. Mayor, what does it mean to have the senator come to Tuskegee?
It's a great opportunity to have our U.S. Senator from Alabama, Doug Jones, to be here in Tuskegee, Alabama, in historic Tuskegee, Macon County, because he comes to hear what our needs are and how to best address that. It also comes to energize us to get us ready for the national elections. I worked with Senator Jones over in Selma, where I was invited to serve on a panel with Senator Jones so he could hear from mayors such as myself in Tuskegee, the mayors in the Black Belt, and what we needed and what our concerns were as he addressed health care and as he addressed the coming pandemic that we ran into. So it's great to have him here in our own city. He knows of the history of Tuskegee, the Tuskegee Airmen, the university, the Booker T. Washington, all that great history that we have here. And he's just trying to see how can we best benefit from what they have to offer out of Washington, get a bird's eye view and a down-to-earth view of what's going on in our community, so he knows how to match that up in terms of what kind of bills and other proposals that he can put into the U.S. Congress that will help us here in our community. No, we simply want to thank Senator Jones for what he's done for our communities, particularly small and rural communities, African-American communities. He's been a leading person on the civil rights bills that have come up, a leading person to support health care, as we know, Obamacare or the CARE Act that we know of. He's always supported that, so we ask him to continue to do that and pledge our support to him as he fights for us in the U.S. Congress.
Folks, I really appreciate everybody coming out here, and I don't want to take a whole lot more time. I just want to tell you this. Over the last 2.5 years, we have worked very hard in Washington and in my offices in the state. When we talk about One Alabama, we mean it. We try to do everything that we can for the people of this state, and we've had success. We work with farmers who were devastated with Hurricane Michael. We worked with nurses and doctors during the course of this pandemic. We helped forge the CARES Act, which brought in money, gave the payroll protection program, gave extended unemployment benefits to folks that lost their jobs through no fault of their own. I'm fighting to make sure that people that are unemployed through no fault of their own get those extended unemployment benefits, as opposed to Tommy Tuberville, who says $600 is too much. We're still fighting the fight. We are still working to get cities and counties the money that they've lost to make sure that we save lives and livelihoods. We are just getting started in working for all the people of the state of Alabama, making sure that everyone is taken care of, making sure that our families have the necessary resources for jobs, to bring more jobs into the state of Alabama, to bring more jobs back into this country. We've got bills pending to do that. Tommy Tuberville just talks a good game. I've got legislation that will do just that. We're working to make sure that people have the education that they need to succeed. That sometimes may be a career technical education so that they can work in these manufacturing jobs. Sometimes it will mean going to a 4-year college and beyond. The kind of colleges like we got right here at Tuskegee U. I sit on the Armed Services Committee, and we're trying to do everything we can to build up our nation's military for a secure national defense. We're building it up everything in the great tradition of the Tuskegee Red Tails. We're going to continue that. Those are the things that we've got to work on today, tomorrow, and for the next 6 years in the future. But folks, what we're faced with right now is trying to get out of this pandemic. We want to make sure that we get the health care that people need. The one thing that you've heard over and over tonight is that Doug Jones has been there to try to make sure that we save rural hospitals, that we expand Medicaid, that we keep the Affordable Care Act and not destroy it the way that the Trump administration is trying to destroy it right now. We cannot let that happen. Folks, the stakes couldn't be higher. Everybody says it, everybody knows it. But what it's going to take is a massive effort. We're going to have to start making sure folks understand right now, as you heard Terry Sewell say, every day is election day. Between Monday and Friday, get your folks out to the polls. Get your folks out to the county courthouse to vote that absentee ballot. Get a mail-in ballot if you need it. But let's get souls to the polls right now so that on November the 3rd, we can have a safe, we can have a secure election, and we can know at the end of the night that Doug Jones has been re-elected for a full term to the United States Senate. Let's make sure I get that. Bottom line, folks, is this. I want you to remember the words of my late friend, John Lewis. John Lewis used to say, he used to like to quote the old African proverb, when you pray, move your feet. But then John would say that in order to move this country, in order to move our state, in order to form that beloved community that Dr. King talked about, we got to do more than just move our feet. We got to move our hands, we got to move our hearts, we got to pull our neighbors along. We got to do everything necessary but to secure the ballot, to make sure that folks in this country understand the significance of what we're facing, to make sure that people in this state and your communities get out to exercise that constitutional right that they have to vote. That's how you make your voices heard. We're going to continue to stand up and speak out about the racial inequalities in this country. We're going to stand up and speak out to try to eliminate discrimination in housing and in health care and everything else. We're going to continue to stand up and speak out to get criminal justice reform and law enforcement reform in this country that's long overdue. But we can only do it if we vote. Our loudest voices come with our vote. So let's get out there. Let's get out there and do it. God bless you all. Thank you for coming tonight.